ThaBoxingvoice.com, live here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, man, so we're here obviously for Haney, Linares, and everyone is tuned in for this main event, man. But you seem, during the press conference, you said you were worried. Is that genuine?
Yeah, because we don't know how good Devin is, do we? I mean, we're basing it on hype and against performances against, we have to say, lower level opposition to Jorge Linares. But he's been dealing with them really comfortably. But how good is Devin Haney? And when you look at Jorge Linares, one thing you know is you're going to get someone that's had a great camp. You're going to get a great fighter, three division world champion. And you're going to get someone that's going to put it on the line and do absolutely everything to try and win. But it's exciting, isn't it? Because we get to find out how good Devin is. And that's what we want to know.
Do you think that he gets credit if he just gets the win, being as though Linares has been stopped all 5 times?
Good question.
Only times he's lost.
I think yes. But you know how harsh fight fans are, right? I mean, they're the harshest sports fans in the world. That's one of the reasons we love them, because they're so passionate. But I think that if he can stop him and put in a devastating performance, his stock will go through the roof. Because I want people to walk away on Saturday night, having watched on Dazn or watched in Mandalay Bay and gone, wow, that kid's a superstar. And I think the way you do that is not necessarily to cruise to a points win, like he did against Gamboa. Gamboa never really came to fight. Linares will come to fight. Linares will engage. So if he can put together that kind of performance, then I think it's fantastic.
Does Devin Haney's re-signing depend on the outcome of this fight? Decision win, does he still end up with Matchroom?
Oh, no, we're behind him 100%. He took a chance with us when we weren't really a big deal in the US. He came to us, he was fighting on Showtime, he was making noise, and we made a play for him. He got a great deal with us. Bill believed in what we were doing. So, I understand contracts are contracts, but we're behind Devin Haney 100%. What I want to do is, I want him to put that performance in where we can come out and we can get Dazn to pull up a big offer for Teofimo Lopez, to Ryan Garcia, to Lomachenko, to all these guys, because that's the kind of fights that we want to see Devin Haney in.
Any nerves that Bob swoops in, offer him the Tio and the Josh Taylor fights?
I think, firstly, is Tio even with Top Rank anymore? I believe he's trying to get out of his contract. He certainly doesn't want to be with them anymore. But that's for them. You know what? That's just like, it is what it is. I'm never a believer. You ask any of our fighters about our contracts with them. Yes, they're under contract, but we don't engage in 5-year prisoner deals, where fighters are just handcuffed to do exactly as they're told. At the end of the day, if you don't want to be with us, if you don't believe we're the right place for you to be, we shake hands and you go. But I believe we're the best promotional company in the world. We've got the biggest budgets in the world from broadcasters. So why wouldn't you want to be here? But we do have to provide the right fights and the right opportunities, because if you look at Terence Crawford, there's a situation where Top Rank have done a good job for Crawford to get to where he is, but now they can't deliver anything for him. So if Devin Haney looks sensational, but we can't deliver him the fights, then we have to work together. But you've seen the work that we've done with Canelo Alvarez, where yes, we're the promoter, but we're also the strategists behind it, and that's sometimes how you can work. So we've got the relationship with Dazn where if ESPN come in and said, no, we want to do Teofimo against Devin Haney on pay-per-view, I would say to Dazn, this is an amazing opportunity for Devin Haney. Let's not handcuff these fighters and not give them opportunities. That's where Canelo's free agency is so smart, because it's more about having the ability to fight the fights that you want to fight. But you can only do that if you have the draw power of a Canelo Alvarez, because you want the security and backing of a broadcaster.
Now, rumor is Billy Joe got $8 million. Keller Plant is asking for 10. Sounds fair, being as though Billy Joe was from the United Kingdom, not really big fan base in America. Keller being from America, is 10 reasonable, or is he scaring Matchroom off?
No, I think in that situation, you've obviously got the ability to do that fight on DAZN or on Fox. And I think all you do in that situation is we look at the offers, and we speak to Louis DeCubas or PBC or whoever it's going to be, and we look at what the best opportunity is for that fighter. The only, I don't know Caleb's contractual position with PBC, but obviously he's a PBC fighter, so they will want him to do the fight on Fox, which we understand. Canelo is not under contract to Dazn, so he can do the fight wherever he wants. But we shouldn't ignore the offer that's going to come in from Dazn, which is going to be sizable. So Caleb Plant is right to want a lot of money. You know, he's a world champion. He's a very good fighter. This is the biggest fight for him that he could ever have. But I hope that he sees the opportunity to become undisputed and to beat Canelo, and the payday comes with that. But hopefully that's not the sole focus. You know, in reference to the numbers, yeah, you know, everyone wants a fortune to fight Canelo Alvarez, and we'll talk that through with Louis de Cubas. And literally, you know, where the best opportunity is for those two fighters is where that fight should take place.
But doesn't it sound like they've made up their mind by putting out in the universe that they want 10? If they wanted 10, they would offer Canelo something, and his purse would be in it.
They will need to make Canelo an offer at some point, and I've been tasked with looking at the options and going back to Canelo Alvarez and saying, this is what's on the table.
No. What I mean is, if Al was going to put up the money, Caleb wouldn't say he wants 10 because he would be getting that.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not. For this one, it's not about the politics. It's not about ego. I just want to make that fight. So I've been asked by Canelo.
I want it on the zone. I'll be honest. I want it on the zone. I like the ring walks. I like everything that Canelo's been doing with Matchroom. It feels like an event, and it's free. You know, I'm paying $8 a month.
Do you know what? I do look at, like, obviously I'm from Britain, right? How much money have you got to have to be a fight fan in the US? And I feel like right now, and I know, you know, we're joking with Joe Markowski, DAZN don't put numbers out, and I'm not allowed to tell you. I wish I could tell you, because it's going really well, particularly after Saunders against Billy Joe Saunders. Sorry, Canelo against Saunders, right? But when you look at DAZN as a platform, and you talk about $99.99 a year or $19.99 a month, you know, you have got, basically, if you bought the annual pass, you would have 4 Canelo Alvarez fights as part of your annual pass. That's just not including all the other fights, the Golden Boy fights, our international fights. And I don't feel like DAZN have really got the credit they deserve. I think that fight fans love the platform and the service. But when you look at the pay-per-views coming in, you've got Mayweather against Logan Paul, which is just horrible, right? Then you've got Gervonta Davis against Barros. Then you've got Wilder against Fury.
And Errol Pacquiao.
Errol against Pacquiao. Good fights, like, but what are they, $80 a time, $90 a time? And then if Canelo, and then another thing you have to look.
And we just did Ruiz.
Yeah, but if you look at Canelo against Plant, by the way, that comes after a run of about 5 or 6 pay-per-view events. And it's the biggest fight of all of them, but it's not a great time to be doing another pay-per-view. You've also got Lopez against Kambosos on Triller.
June 19th.
Yeah, exactly. So it's unbelievable. But you know,
economically, it makes more sense for them to put it on DAZN.
I think from a risk perspective, if I'm a fighter, as good as Canelo's numbers are, and they are unbelievable, I don't really want to be going into a market like that after a run like that and putting my balls on the line that it's going to do X million buys. I look at it and say, give me the guarantee, please. But they've got to be on board with that as well. So we'll see, whatever everyone's happy with.
Are you optimistic that worst case scenario it'll be a co-promotion between Matchroom and PBC?
I mean, I don't see, you know, I'm not going to lose the fight. You know, if I go to Canelo Alvarez and say, listen, they don't want me to co-promote it, walk away from the fight, I would never say that anyway. But he may say, no, I want you to co-promote it because all the things you've been doing in my last 3 fights are fantastic, and I want those in this fight. I don't want to fight the undisputed fight and come out for a black curtain and just, that's it. I want the fireworks. I want the razzmatazz. I want that big event feel. So I'm not looking to, like, just take control, but hopefully we can have input to make this fight the event it deserves to be. And
what's your thoughts of Malik Scott training Wilder? Have you seen? I know you're a busy man,
yeah,
but
have you ever seen? Yeah, I mean, I like Malik. I mean, Malik's a character, isn't he? I mean, if you believed everything that Malik said in the build-up to his own fights, you'd think he'd be the undisputed champion himself. He's a great talker. He's a great character. He's a very likeable guy. I don't know how good he is as a trainer, but he knows the sport. He's, you know, he's smart.
Can you see a difference in Wilder? People seem to think they can see a difference in those clips.
I don't think Deontay Wilder is comfortable boxing and moving. You know, he's. I'm not going to start like criticising Wilder. His footwork is not good. Like, he's not a natural boxer. You look at people that have been doing this, know, we go back to Canelo and Billy Joe Saunders. These guys have been fighting since they were like 5. Do you know what I mean? Andy Ruiz, another one. Wilder's an athlete that got into boxing, basically, and it takes them longer and it's harder for them to adapt. So Wilder, his attributes are, he's a tremendous puncher. I think he's technically poor at that level. Can you improve someone at that level? I don't know. I mean, from the last fight, you'd have to say he has absolutely no chance against Tyson Fury, other than a puncher's chance, which he will always have.
Do you think Fury can have a mental slip and overlook Wilder because the second fight was so easy?
Possibly, but he has shared a ring with him twice, so he should know what he's in for. And again, you know, sometimes, again, I don't know how disappointed he is that he lost the Joshua fight, but I know that for AJ, one thing that we're doing now is we're giving him a little bit of time just to get his head around the fact that it's not Fury. Because if it's Usyk or it's White or it's Ruiz or whoever it is, this is where we fucked up last time against Andy Ruiz, is he wanted to punish Jarrell Miller, right? And then it fell through, and then we looked at the options, and I thought, and the team thought, Andy Ruiz, that's a good fight, credible, tough fight. He was so flat. He was like, oh, this guy, everyone's just telling me he's out of shape and it's an easy night for me, and you know, but Fury, you know, there is a chance of that, I suppose, but again, like, it's happening very quickly, isn't it? I don't know, it's like, is Wilder really prepared for that fight in July? I mean, I don't know.
Date is set. The second fight came and went, and he surprised everyone. He was telling us in the build-up he was going for the knockout. No one really believed it. Can he do that again? Or will Wilder and his team be thinking maybe he's going to come for the knockout? Or are they playing with his head? Because he has actually 2 ways he can fight Wilder now. The first fight,
I think Fury will be very confident to be able to do what he wants, really. You've got to be careful. Like I said, Wilder can punch. But at the same time, he didn't like the pressure. He hasn't got a great chin, I don't think. Fury's not a puncher. He can punch, but not, you know, he's not a devastating puncher. I think there's many ways to beat Deontay Wilder. I think you can box him. I think, which we saw Luis Ortiz do. I think you can put pressure on him and knock him out and bully him. But Fury's got all the attributes. You know, he's very versatile.
So AJ Fury, a lot of people, right? We do a daily boxing show, so people seem to believe AJ would knock out Fury. I look at Fury's footwork and his movement and what he did to Wilder in the first fight, and I think, well, why wouldn't he just fight the way he fought Wilder the first fight? What do you think would be the difference between a Fury and AJ if he chose to use that first fight style?
Firstly, AJ is on another level technically to Deontay Wilder. He's also a very sharp puncher and throws very good aggressive combinations. So the one thing you have to do with Tyson Fury is to cut off the ring and let your hands go when you're in range, not with one shot. You know, and that's what Wilder was doing. You know, if it was jab, right hand and miss, and you know, you got to throw hurtful combinations up close, you know, at range when you get on the inside, and that's what AJ can do. He can lead off 6, 7, 8 punch combinations with a second phase, with a third phase. It's going to be frustrating because you're not just going to get hold of Tyson Fury and beat him up, but you've got to do it slowly and pressured over time. It's a very difficult fight. But Wilder didn't have the footwork, didn't have the punch variety, didn't have the know-how of how to deal with Fury's style, because it's horrible style. You know, go back to the Fury-Klitschko fight. Oh, I mean, it's a nightmare to fight, but you have to get hold of him. You have to use your size, impose your size, and let your hands go with combinations. Here. Doesn't matter where, especially here, you know. But always a tricky fight.
Eddie, can you just educate us and tell us how does it work when you're putting together Usyk and AJ? Because I seen his clip where he's like, Eddie, more money. Yeah. So why is it that people get to ask Canelo, for instance, Derevyanchenko didn't want 5.5, but he took it versus Gennady. So like, why does Usyk get to ask AJ for more money?
This is the problem with where we are at the moment. Like, I feel like we've always been told by the governing bodies, you have to do this now. And when you do that, everyone's got leverage on you. Do you understand? So like right now, Plant has leverage because he has a belt, but there's no governing body saying you two must fight and this is the split, otherwise we're going to let the whole world bid on this fight. So with Usyk, it's like, that's why we may not fight him, because unless the deal's right, we're sick and tired of being told what to do.
If you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive, from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.